Simplify. As much as you can, you want to separate your coefficients from your variables. So 6 over 8 can be reduced. That just leaves us with a 3 and a 4 because 2 goes into both of those. I would recommend this. If you've got a negative exponent, move it. Don't try and do too much in your head. That's just where common mistakes happen, and final exams are the king of common mistakes. You'll have an answer that people often come up with by doing the same thing wrong that you might actually do. If you say 5 minus 3 is 2, you have made a common mistake. If you say this is a negative, so I'm going to move it, you'll be less likely to make a mistake when you see a 3 and a 5 sitting next to each other. That means you've got an x to the 8th power. Okay? Now this minus 2, same thing. Move it downstairs, you've now got a y squared sitting next to a y to the 6th. That's going to give you a y to the 8th power as well. So now you do that and you look at our possible solutions. There it is right up top. The answer is A. Okay. The common solution or common mistake that I suggested, if you say 5 minus 3 is 2, there's your x squared. If you say 6 minus 2 is 4, there's your y to the 4th. Okay? So don't get sucked into that, please, people. Fungi. I've been known as a fun guy, but this is a different fun guy. They're produced exponentially, or reproducing exponentially with respect to time, as shown in the table below. Which of the following expressions express the fungi at a time, in terms of y at a time of t. So it starts out at 6, it becomes 12, it becomes 24. You're not adding 6 each time, otherwise this would be 18. You're multiplying by 2. Okay, that's your multiplier. Okay, if we're adding 6 each time, then, well, I don't know. It'd be something different. It doesn't even show up there. This is this equation, y equals a times b to the x power. Or this is your initial value, and that's your growth or multiplier. We're showing here a growth of 200% essentially. We're multiplying by 2. But your initial value is that 0 term. We won't always give you the 0 term. If this started at 1, you'd have to go back a step. But it does. That's your initial value, and that's your multiplier. So the a should be a 6, the b should be a 2. The answer is A. Select the angle that satisfies both equations. Okay, so we know that cosine is equal to root 3 over 2 and sine is equal to 1/2. Well, in the unit circle, those are both positive. It's going to be in the first quadrant. And if the cosine is root 3 over 2, we're going over the great distance. And according to the sine, we're going up the short distance. It is a short triangle in the first quadrant. And it's in degrees, apparently. That's 30 degrees. The answer is A. You guys should be good at that by now, hopefully. Now, the following here represents a histogram. The following histogram represents Algebra 2 exam scores. Okay, here are the exam scores. Oh, poor guy, but or girl, for that matter, equal representation here. This data is skewed to the left, and when we have data that's skewed to the left, the average is going to be lower than it would seem because of this and some of these other values that are pulling the average to the left. So we don't want to use the average or the mean. Skewed data should always be represented by the median. And the reason for that is because the median is going to be more representative of the center. Okay? So in answer A, it says the median, because the distribution is skewed to the left. You don't have to go beyond that. That's right. The mean, because it's symmetric, well, then you've misdiagnosed this as symmetric because it's not. It is skewed to the left. Mean, because there's an outlier. An outlier exists. If an outlier exists, then there's all the more reason why you would want the median to be a representation of this data. And the median, because distribution is skewed right, that just means you mistook skewed left from skewed right. So the answer is A. So the rewrite, the swoosh, this is the beginning, that is the power, and this is your solution. It's Z to the power of W equals N. You should know that. If you don't, learn it. The answer then is C. And this fun stuff, this really just has to be memorized. You need to know that if you're adding the two perfect cubes, then you need to factor, first of all, you're going to have a binomial followed by a trinomial. Here's a hint. That sign is going to be the same in the binomial, so you could eliminate that from contention already. All the rest are 6k and 5d. So you might not have known that 216, the cube root of 216 is 6, but magically this tells you that that's the case. So I know that 6k plus 5d is the first part of this. The last three, or the three parts of the trinomial that follows are basically this term squared. Okay, raise it to the second power and that'll give you this. So 6k squared is equal to 36k squared, which eliminates b from contention. The last term will be made by taking this term squared. That should give us 25d squared. So then the big question is this a negative 60 kd or a negative 30 kd? Because everything else is the same. The way this works is the middle term is just that term times that term, but you have to change the sign. Okay? It's not times 2 like we're doing a shortcut of a FOIL. This times this is 30d. It should be a positive based on multiplying those, but we always want to change the sign when we transfer it over here. So it's 30 kd followed by the plus there. So the answer then would be C.